Hey guys, we are so excited to announce we are producing our own original content. Head over to The Trendy for the best DIYs, fashion tips, makeup hacks, and so much more. We are sure you're going to love it. And be sure to let us know what you think in the comment section. We love to hear from you. See you there.
We've all been at a loose end with nothing to do at some point in our lives. Most of the time, we try to distract ourselves, whether it's by watching a show, reading a book, or doing something. But today, you'll see how some people had lots of time on their hands and did some pretty weird stuff. Make sure you watch to the end to see what one YouTube star did to his brother's bedroom. If you haven't visited us before, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up and remember to subscribe to our channel. Today, we're looking at 10 people who had way too much time on their hands. 10. All the world's a chip. When you were a child, did your parents tell you not to play with your food? Ours did. However, this person who found themselves at a bit of a loose end used their food to come up with something that, we'll admit, is pretty awesome. What they did was to create a map of the world made entirely of ridged potato chips. And it's not a rough amalgamation that might just potentially look like an atlas either. No, everything is in the correct proportion and is pretty much the right shape too. Think of the world's island nations, whether it's the United Kingdom, Iceland, or even Madagascar. They are there in edible form. The smaller landmasses are made up from crispy crumbs, while the larger continents are made from a multitude of potato chips. While we think this is amazing, it's the sort of thing that raises questions. Like, are the different parts of the world made from different flavors? Could they have made this map and had the same effect if they had used plain chips? What about if they had used tortilla chips or popcorn? Does it matter what sort of ridged chip you use, or is there only one specific brand that works? And didn't this person have something else they could have done instead? Regardless, this made us laugh and smile, and it could possibly be used as an educational tool. So, the crisp lover who made this, we salute you. 9. Banana Man strikes again. We all like a delicious piece of fruit. It's tasty and it's good for you too. But one thing all fruit lovers are all too aware of is how you need to eat that fruit pretty quickly. The very last thing that you want is for your yummy food stuff to go off. That means it'll become mushy, taste horrible, and be pretty much inedible. And one of the most sensitive bits of fruit we can think of is the banana. Those things go from lovely to nasty pretty quickly. So not only is it important to eat them up before they go off, you'll want to turn them into sculptures quickly. What was that? You want to know why you turn them into sculptures? Well, we're not entirely sure why. But a man who does is Japanese artist Kazuki Yamada. Mr. Yamada turns an inconspicuous piece of fruit into a xenomorph from the Alien films, Darth Vader from the Star Wars franchise, even a pretty cool looking shark. What's even better is that he doesn't do it full time. During the day, he works as an electrician, but by night he creates his awesome artwork. He uses a toothpick and spoon to gouge out the bits of bananas that he doesn't need and molds it into what his imagination comes up with. And the craziest thing is that he has 30 minutes to make the sculpture before the banana goes off. Mr. Yamada, we salute you. 8. A watcher in the bathroom. We hope we don't need to tell you how to use bathroom paper. Well, not how to use bathroom paper in the way that it was made to be used. But someone must have had to spend a lot of time in the restroom to come up with this next one. Have you ever heard about the ancient Japanese art of origami? It's paper folding, using paper to create beautiful objects. We think that potentially the person behind this took the arts concept and did something rather different with it. What they did, as you can see, was to take the loo roll and transform it into a face. It's actually quite a good face. It looks to be a young girl, and they've even given her plates. We think that she looks rather like Pippi Longstocking, the feisty young heroine of the classic children's books by Astrid Lindgren. Maybe that's who it was supposed to be. But what turns this from, well, that's pretty cool, to what the heck were they doing, is that this was in a public restroom. That's right. Someone would have gone into a cubicle and seen this staring up at them. Let's face it, that's one place where you don't want to feel like someone's watching you. And there's one worrying question. Did this person bring it in with them, or did they just make it there? And if it's the latter, just how long would they have been in there for? 7. Taking the pips out of a strawberry. Have you ever eaten a strawberry? We reckon you probably have. And if you have eaten them, you'll know that they are absolutely delicious, sweet, succulent, and juicy. And you know what? Even though they have seeds, you probably won't notice them. They aren't like blackberries or raspberries. Those things make you want to book a date with a toothbrush. But you know how you said you probably wouldn't notice the pips of a strawberry? Well, it looks like at least one person noticed them. Have you seen these pictures, or indeed, pictures? Someone has taken the time to get a strawberry and then very delicately taken the pips out of them. The thing is, these things are tiny, like only a millimeter long and a fraction wide, and there are literally hundreds of the little green things. So unless this person was some kind of toothpick ninja, it would have taken them absolutely ages to do. Like, it would have been quicker to have eaten the strawberry. If they were that worried about getting something caught between their teeth, they could have just brushed them. We'll bet that even if they'd had to go and get a toothbrush and toothpaste, it would have taken them far, far less time than slowly and methodically gouging out each pip. You have to admire this person's dedication, but you also have to ask, why? 6. Coin spiral to nowhere. Although we're living in a world where it's more and more commonplace to pay by a card or a phone, cash is still used for loads of things. But one of the things about using cash that ends up being a little bit annoying is how much of it can get stacked up. It can really clog up your pockets, making it harder to get a hold of your wallet. Now, you could use your change the next time you make a purchase rather than breaking into another note. Or, if you found yourself with way too much time on your hands, you could do what this next person did. They got their change, all of the same kind of coin, and they stacked it up. Now, a lot of people do that because it makes it easier to work out how much you have. But what a lot of people don't do is make a pretty awesome kind of sculpture out of them. It's really rather wonderful. It looks like a piece of modern art, or possibly a strange kind of seashell, or maybe even a section of a staircase to nowhere, or even part of a DNA double helix. To be honest, we aren't entirely sure what it's supposed to be, and we're not entirely sure just how much is in this cash sculpture, or how long it would have taken the person who made it to do it. But it looks good, so that's cool. 5. Car covered in Post-it notes. Sometimes, if you want to leave a message, a Post-it note is a great idea. It's small, it's easy to use, and if you see one, you know something is written on it. And if you live in a place where it's the law to have motor insurance, they're good to keep in your car. If you accidentally hit another vehicle, you can leave your details so you can sort the problem out later. But check out this picture. This saloon car has been covered entirely in Post-it notes, and something tells us that this vehicle has not been involved in a collision. Well, okay, it might have been once, maybe, but it couldn't have been involved in as many pranks as there are notes on it. We think that there must be literally hundreds, if not thousands, of the things on there. And whoever it was that put them there, they made a very real effort with them. They didn't just get one color, they got 3. There are blue notes, pink notes, and the traditional yellow notes. And they aren't put on all randomly and higgledy-piggledy either. The person, who must have had way too much time on their hands, created their own funky design. There's stripes on the sides, the black wheels are blue, the front wheels are blue and red, and there's a cool checkerboard design on the rear window. We don't know why someone did this, but it made us laugh. 4. Ball pit matching bonanza. When you were a kid, did you love playing in the ball pit? We did. It was great fun. You could chill out or swim around or even throw the balls about. Sometimes they even had a slide to take you in there. But one thing it definitely would have had was colored balls. Lots and lots and lots of colored balls. And they would have all been a wide variety of colors too. But imagine working at a play center which had a ball pit. And imagine you worked really hard looking after the kids and making sure everything was safe and clean and well. And imagine that the place is too close to the public for the day, but you've got lots of time left on your shift. Now, because you're a diligent and conscientious employee, the venue doesn't need much maintenance after opening hours. But you've got a lot of time left before you can go home. Like, a lot of time left. So what do? Well, we know what one person did. They got all the balls in the ball pit, and they put them together by color. Can you imagine that? Reds, oranges, yellows, greens, blues, and purples, all in different sectors of the pit. This must have taken forever. And after all that hard work, do you think the kids who used it the next day would have kept it that way? We don't. But for one night, everything was together. 3. Office doppelgänger. Have you ever worked in an office? We have, and while it can usually be pretty good, there are times when you just want to get out for a bit. Whether it's to enjoy an unexpectedly nice day, grab something to eat, or just go home. But a lot of the time, you can't. You have to stay indoors, doing your work. One thing you can pretty much guarantee is that someone, somewhere, will notice you're gone. What can make it even worse is when that someone is your boss. Then you can really get in trouble. You might end up losing your job, and no one wants that. So what do you do if you want to head out? It's a puzzler. But what one person who really wanted to get some fresh air had was a great idea. A great idea and, oddly enough, a lot of time. First of all, he got a whole load of plastic cups from the water cooler. Then he got some sticky tape. After that, he made arms, legs, and a torso from the cups. He placed them on the chair and... You want to know why we're calling this person a he? Well, it's because they drew a face on their fake plastic them, giving him glasses and a pretty cool goatee beard. The very best thing is that this guy must have been a great worker to have so much time to do it. We hope he got promoted. 2. A cat in a plane. If you have a pet, then the chances are you'll do pretty much anything for them. Having an animal to look after and become friends with is something that can bring a lot of joy to your existence. And you'll want to do your best to make life great for your furry companion. But someone took things a bit too far. What they did was make this admittedly mind-blowing plane for their cat. Yes, that's right, a plane with wings and everything. We don't know how long it would have taken them, but they probably didn't have much else on that day, or days. It's kind of like an old-fashioned Second World War era contraption. It's got checks on the front at the edge of the wings. It's got a pretty sweet-looking propeller at the nose. And the wings are painted a very military battleship shade of gray. It looks really, really good, but we aren't entirely sure what it would be used for. The cockpit where you see the cat sitting looks a bit too small for her to curl up into and sleep. We all know how much cats need space, right? And wouldn't it have been easier to get the kitty a nice basket from a pet store? But when you see the look on this cat's face, you'd think it was worth it. 1. A room covered in duct tape. Sometimes playing pranks can be kind of funny. We know that it can seem a little bit infantile, but it can make us laugh. And those of us with brothers and sisters know that winding our siblings up is incredibly satisfying. So that's why one guy did this to his brother. Only you'd wonder how he managed to find the time to do such a thing. Jake Paul, who also found fame as a YouTube video vlogger, found himself with not much to do one day. So, in keeping with his smart aleck wisecracking prankster persona, he did something crazy to wind up his brother Logan. He decided to duct tape Logan's bedroom. Now, we aren't talking about putting a few strips of the material over the door or on the wardrobe here. No, what Jake Paul did was get a ridiculously large amount of duct tape and slather it all over poor Logan's room. Understandably, his brother was more than a little bit upset by what Jake had done. Pretty much every inch was covered. So understandably, Jake, his friends, and the millions of people who follow Jake on YouTube found it rather amusing. We'd like to know how Jake Paul, who's evidently a very busy guy, found the time to cover Logan's room in duct tape. And where did he get it from? We'd also love to know, what have you done when you had way too much time on your hands? Let us know in the comments. That's all for our 10 people who had way too much time on their hands. If you liked it, check out 10 toys that weren't supposed to be for kids. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe to The Things.